What happens to your e-commerce data in Google Analytics when you issue a refund to an order? How can we signalize to Google Analytics that this order was refunded? In this video, I'm going to show you how you can send refunds into Google Analytics with the help of a Google form. All and more coming up right after this. Hi there, and welcome to another video of MeasureSchool.com, where we teach you the data-driven way of digital marketing. My name is Julian, and on this channel we do tutorials, how-to videos, and take a look at useful little pieces of marketing tech, just like this one. So if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Now, processing refunds has been a functionality within the enhanced e-commerce tracking features in Google Analytics for quite some time now. But how can you actually send that data to Google Analytics? In some cases, you can connect your backend data to Google Analytics to process these refunds. But especially with out-of-the-box shop systems, this is not always possible and not always built in. So today, I want to show you a simple way to process Google Analytics refunds via Google Forms. Our template that we'll be discussing today will be available at measureschool.com/refundr. Now we got lots to cover, so let's dive in. Right, today our journey starts in the e-commerce reports of Google Analytics. Now I have an enhanced e-commerce tracking installation there, and you need to have that enabled in order to see refund data. So make sure under the e-commerce settings that you are using the enhanced e-commerce abilities of Google Analytics. And then you'd be able to look into the e-commerce report, and under sales performance, you can see the refund amount here. Now this will tell us how much of these orders was refunded. So how can we actually fill this refund column here? Well, you could implement some JavaScript onto your website to send over this data to Google Analytics, but in most cases, we wouldn't even have a page that the user visits in order to issue a refund. Sometimes this happens on the phone or through another backend system. Now you could connect this up to Google Analytics. I have thought of a solution where you would actually use a Google form. So I came up with this GA Refundr idea that lets you input your refunds into this Google form and sends them over to Google Analytics. What do you need for this? First of all, your Google Analytics tracking ID, which you'll find in the admin section under your tracking information. Here we have our tracking ID, which we simply input. And then we need to know the exact order ID. So let's go back to our reporting and find the transaction ID. Let's say we want to refund this transaction. We simply would copy it and put it into the order ID field or the transaction ID field. And then we can choose whether we want to go through and do this as a partial refund or a full refund. Now I will go with a full refund here. So I'll go on No, click Next, and submit our Google Analytics Refundr request. Now this should trigger automatically a refund. This is sent over with an event. So in our real-time reporting, we should see that there's an event being transmitted. Here we go. Our event, e-commerce, and event action is refund. Now this takes a while to actually be populated into our reports. So let's go ahead with another example, and let's say we want to do a partial refund here. For that, we would again need to have our transaction ID. Simply submit another response here. And again, our Google Analytics tracking ID. And this time we will do a partial refund. So we click on yes, which will take us to the next step where we can input the first product that we want to refund. So in order to know which product this is, we simply need to look into the order that we want to refund or partially refund. We'll click here on this order and it will give us the products that were bought. So let's say we want to refund this iOS t-shirt. Let's display the product ID as a secondary dimension. We have here the product SKU, which is basically the product ID. Let's copy that and input it in our product ID field. And then the quantity, which would be 1. Do we want to add further products to the refund? No, we want to just refund this one product ID. Let's click on Next and submit this again. Now you can refund up to 4 different product SKUs with this form. Again, this should trigger a new event right here in our events last 30 minutes tab, because this is actually a non-interactive event. And that should again fill our sales performance refund column right here. Now, as I mentioned, this takes a little bit of time, so let's go over how you can implement this solution if you want to use it. All you need to do is go over to measureschool.com/GA Refundr, where you will be able to copy our form. Just click on make a copy. Now you need to have a Google account and need to be signed up to Google Drive to do this. And then this will generate a copy of your GA Refundr, which you can also then customize if you want to. The key being here that this is tied to a Google App script, which we need to configure. So if you click on more here, you need to go to the script editor. And this is where the magic actually happens. So if a new response is submitted, it will go through the answers here and map them towards our Google Analytics request, and in the end, send that data over to Google Analytics through the measurement protocol. Now, the only configuration we really have to take care of is setting up the trigger, which always has to be done again. Just simply go to resources here and click on current project triggers. There's nothing set up, so you will need to click on this link here and then run the refund from form on form submit. Now, if you want to keep track of any kind of errors that might occur, then you can send yourself an email on a daily or immediately if the error happens. Just to debug this, I tend to keep this option ticked. Let's save this, and you will be asked to review the permissions because this script will actually send data to Google Analytics. So let's review this. And we see this connects to external services, which is the Google Analytics measurement protocol. Now, I won't actually be able to see any or view any of your data in Google Drive. This is all tied to your Google Drive account. Click on allow and you're ready to go. You can close this window now. And here's your finished form that you can now use to process refunds. All you need to do is use this URL that you find under send. Right here we have the link, and this is the link we can use to input new data. Again, let's try this out. We have here another order that we want to refund. Input our Google Analytics tracking ID. Here we go, and click on no because we want to have a full refund on this. Let's click next, submit this whole thing, and see if our event was properly put in place through our real-time reporting. And here we go, we see a new event just came in from the measurement protocol with e-commerce and refund in them. And this will, of course, again, port over to our sales performance reports. We then see the refund amount filled. Now, a bonus tip is to actually, in your sheet, you'll be able to keep a little bit of a log from what went out and what went in. So if you go back to the edit mode, you can actually look at the responses that were triggered. And there's also the option to see this in a spreadsheet, where every row here shows a new submission. And that way you can see what was submitted and transferred to the measurement protocol and then to Google Analytics. Now, as I mentioned, it takes a while to actually fill this. So I have done some testing beforehand. Let's just quickly change the account. And here you see what that would look like if the refunds go through. So I hope you find our Google Analytics Refundr useful. So there you have it. This is how you can process refunds via Google Forms. Remember, you can download our form template at measureschool.com/GA Refundr. The script was developed by myself, so I'd be happy to take any kind of feedback or questions in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, please share it with a friend or a colleague and subscribe to this channel to get more of these videos every Wednesday. My name is Julian. Till next time.